and they'll relate to the feeling of being subtly disrespected on a recurring basis by individuals in their life, whether it's their romantic partner, whether it's a colleague at work, whether it's someone else that they interact with. And so many people, I've seen this in some of the questions I get sent in, are keen to understand how to deal with someone that is disrespecting you. You know, because I guess there's a train of thought that would say when they disrespect you, you kind of argue and engage and try and shout them down and try and win. But if you are being subtly disrespected in your own life by someone, what do you recommend that they do?
Okay. Who is it? So if it's my partner, so I'm married, I have a husband. He's another special agent. If he does something where I feel disrespected because I care so deeply about that relationship and the integrity of that relationship, I might argue it, not to argue, but because I want to keep a good, healthy relationship. Now, don't get me wrong, being in a relationship, you also let a lot of things go, right? Mm-hmm. So it's again, what am I willing to let go? What's, I don't want to say silly, but what's like really not important? And where, what's like, hey, I want to address this with you, and this is why. So for me, that takes hierarchy. Who your partner is, when we talked about that before, bar none, that is really such a crux of how well you're going to do in life. They're either going to raise you up or they're going to sink you down. So that matters. I will do my best not to be belligerent when I'm having that discussion, right? Now, everybody else falls to the side for me because I understand the value of being with a person and you're with that person 90% of the time, and that's an investment in that relationship. But aside from everybody else, mostly everybody else, I can let it go. I always look at, are you worth my time and energy? I'm busy. So do I need to stop? And do I need to address you?
Okay, so let's play out a scenario.
Okay.
And in this scenario, I'm going to make us peers. So we work together, right? We work together in a call center. This is actually something that happened to me when I was in the early sort of phase of my career where I was working in call centers. So I was like answering phones and doing that kind of thing and selling things on the phone, etc. And I remember being sat next to someone who was like subtly disrespecting me all the time. And at this point in my life, I wasn't in any position of authority to do anything about it. It's funny because that one instance has completely shaped my leadership perspective and my real deep belief that I have a responsibility as the founder of the company or CEO to go in search of and clamp out all disrespect in an organization that is happening beneath me, because you're often powerless at work to do anything about it. And I felt that I couldn't stop this lady that sat next to me disrespecting me because I wasn't her boss. So now that I have the responsibility, it's a big thing for me that we don't employ arseholes and dickheads. And there's actually a recent example where someone was in our business for a total of a couple of hours. And actually in my previous company, there was a guy that walked in during his initiation. He went like this and walked off. Day one of his job, he put both middle fingers up after his initiation, where we basically ask them questions, ask them what they're into, who they are, put both middle fingers up and walked off. It was the last time anyone saw him in the building. And because it was a sign of a character issue that would lead to further disrespect. So if I'm sat next to you at work, Evie, we're colleagues, and you come in the morning and I go, oh, first time you've been on time. And then you do some work and I go, not bad considering your standard. And then you're in a meeting and you're talking and I just interrupt you and you submit a piece of work and I look at it and I turn my nose up and you hear me talking shit about you behind your back when people aren't there, me criticizing your work and how you are and your delivery. How are you going to deal with that situation?
So I would deal with a specific situation, not the whole thing. I would pick a moment where I have tangible facts and I would say, can I speak to you for a moment?
Okay, so we're in a group. We're all on the calls in my call center.
I'm not going to do it in front of other people.
Okay, fine. So this is what happens. This is not actually what happened in my life.
Did you do this?
No. In fact, I didn't do anything. I just wanted the money. I was trying to just survive. Couldn't feed myself. So I wasn't going to open my mouth. But we're in a call center and I've disrespected you for a while now. And then I turn to you and I go, and you've just come off a call and I go, you know what, you could have done that better. You didn't close that properly, Evie. And next time you do a call and you get stuck like that, just speak to me and I'll take the call off you. Just tell them that your colleague will handle it, and I carry on with my day. What are you going to do in that moment?
I might not do anything. But it also depends because you said I didn't do anything. I was trying to feed myself. And that plays a role. Like, where are you?
I think part of it is I was very young and I didn't have the tools to address that situation. The problem is the situation made coming to work a misery.
Yeah.
And this version of myself, irrespective of my financial situation, would have, and even today, because even today, okay, I have money, I have security, but I'm still playing at a certain level where there's disrespect potential. I actually have a really good example that I could never share as someone that I work with who's extremely successful. We work on a particular project together. And I found out that this was happening. And they were basically threatened by me because, for a variety of reasons, this is what I was told by an intermediary. And I chose a moment when I heard that they had just disrespected me within a short period of time. And I walked in front of a group of people. And I said to them, I heard what you did out there in the hallway when I wasn't there. And in the future, if you want to say something to me, I'd really appreciate it. You said it to my face instead of behind my back. And it's crazy what happened. It's crazy what happened. This really big, tough, powerful individual turned into a toddler in front of my eyes. Oh, what? No, I didn't say. And I left the room. And then it never happened again.
But I think that that's okay too. But you also came to that place. It's like, I think each person has to choose. And if you choose to do it, you can do it. Now, the fact that you did it in front of people, but what you did that was smart is you were able to speak. As upset as you were able to speak and articulate yourself clearly.
Yeah.
And it had just happened. And you were able to say what just specifically happened here. That's the difference, because sometimes it's like, I feel like you treat me this way, or I think you did this, or it seems like that. Those are very ambiguous. So if you're going to confront someone like you did it the smart way because you picked a specific moment. You said specifically, out in the hallway, you just did this. You said X, Y, and Z. If you want to say something to me, always feel free to come say it to me. That's why I also think it worked. And you're also in a place where you feel like you can do that. I think that that's okay too. But you also took a risk and you're like, uncertainty, like, I'll burn this down.
Yeah, because on that project, I'm not the one that's got the power. I can still be fired from that particular project.
But you chose. You're like, let it burn.
Yeah, because I don't want to be anywhere where I'm miserable.
Exactly. You made a choice. You're like, let it burn. So you at some point understood, like, there's a consequence here. And it's interesting because bullies, they flex. They're not very powerful.